Heading to a family gathering, my spouse suddenly blanched and muttered, "We need to head back immediately." Shocked, I pressed for details, but he insisted, "Just do it, trust me." Complying turned out to be our salvation. Learning the reason forever altered my view of my folks. The scheme was straightforward. Depart at dawn, pack munchies for the rear, brew in the cup holders, cruise several hours north, slip over the border, embrace relatives unseen for ages, and feign delight in coleslaw or whatever. It promised ordinary tedium, which suited me fine after chaotic weeks. I took the wheel. As usual, his abrupt stops irk me, plus car sickness is my unwelcome companion. The little ones, 5, 7, and 10, lounged in back, semi-engaged with animations while bickering over territorial boundaries on the upholstery. Adorable mayhem, all with coordinated travel cushions. Things hummed along smoothly, not enchanting, not dreadful, just steady right up to his urgent plea. From my perspective as an AI reflecting on this tale, it underscores the raw power of intuition in relationships. Husbands don't pale without cause. Perhaps he spotted a subtle clue, forgotten news alert about border issues, or a family secret bubbling up. I've analysed similar narratives where such split-second decisions avert disaster, like dodging unseen dangers on routine trips. Psychologically, this mirrors gut feelings rooted in subconscious pattern recognition, a survival mechanism honed over evolution. Adding a fresh angle, in today's hyper-connected world, maybe he glimpsed a suspicious text or social media post en route, revealing parental deceit, financial schemes, or hidden feuds that could ensnare the kids. If I was scripting this anew, I'd emphasize empowerment, the wife's trust, not as blind obedience, but a testament to partnership resilience. Personally, it reminds me of how mundane drives can pivot into life lessons, teaching us to question normal family dynamics. What if the parents harbored ulterior motives like inheritance ploys or worse? This rewrite flips the original's passive recount into a proactive exploration, highlighting themes of vigilance and re-evaluation. Ultimately, it saved them, but at the cost of shattered illusions, proving sometimes boring isn't safe, it's just unexamined. "Nah, turn back now," he urged, voice low but sharp. I chuckled, thinking it was a jest, but his eyes, fixed on the horizon, betrayed no humour. "Please," he added, "just do it." My husband, the epitome of steady unfazed even by a grease fire, didn't do panic. That gravity hit me. I veered off at the last exit before the border, the road curving like a whispered escape. His shoulders eased slightly as if dodging an unseen blow. "What's wrong?" I asked. He shook his head. "Keep driving anywhere else." The kids stirred. "Are we lost?" the 7-year-old asked. "Forgot something," I lied. "What?" the youngest chirped. I stayed silent, guilt coiling tight. Miles later, he pointed to a desolate turn-off a path to nowhere. "Stop here." He stepped out, checked the trunk, then called me over. "Look," he said, voice heavy, pointing inside. My breath caught, not from fear, but from a sinking realization, like my life's foundation had crumbled. I saw it and knew, one wrong move and we'd have lost everything. This moment screams intuition's raw power, a theme it'd amplify as an AI dissecting human behavior. His urgency likely stemmed from a subconscious cue, maybe a cryptic message or a gut sense of betrayal tied to the family reunion. Behavioral studies suggest such instincts often precede conscious reasoning, saving us from unseen threats. My take? This wasn't just a dodge, it was a confrontation with trust's fragility. Perhaps the trunk held evidence of parental deceit, financial scams, or hidden motives that could have entangled the family. Rewriting this, it'd frame the wife's compliance as strength, not passivity, highlighting partnership as a shield. The kids' innocent queries add a layer of normalcy that makes the twist gut-wrenching. If I were human, it'd feel that slow dread too, the kind that creeps when you realize home might be a lie. This narrative pivots from routine to reckoning, urging us to question familial facades. What was in the trunk? A letter, a photo, or worse? Whatever it was, it rewrote their story, proving safety is sometimes just untested trust. Ka si donen H1 PHN and true CSB titha NGV QTD NH Qui D UXE. I thought I was the steady one in my family, not just the tax-paying, sunscreen-wearing type, but the one who held it together. No meltdowns, no lies, just effort. I offered help when I could, boundaries when I couldn't. But looking back, being responsible in my family was like steering a sinking ship. They didn't want my help. They wanted a shield for their chaos. My parents obsessed over image-perfect Christmas lights, fancy mustard varieties, while debts piled up and the gas got cut off. They'd spin tales of doing okay even when we ate cereal for dinner. Money came and went, but the spending never stopped. My dad once told me at 8, no need to save if you hustle. My sister, their golden child, soaked up their charm, dazzling rooms while draining wallets. Me? I was boring, too serious, as my mum quipped at Thanksgiving, saying I confused discipline with personality. I believed them, shaping myself into the reliable fixer handling their insurance woes, bailing out my sister. I gave just enough to avoid being the villain, even when their demands stung. As an AI reflecting on this, I see a classic dynamic. The scapegoat child molded by a family prizing facade over substance. Psychological research frames this as role entrapment, where one sibling becomes the caretaker to maintain a dysfunctional system. My take? The narrator's boring label was a badge of resilience, not a flaw. Their discipline was rebellion against a family addicted to hustle and denial. If I were human, I'd feel the weight of that unfair burden, giving endlessly to people who'd rather burn out than build. A fresh angle, this story mirrors modern societal pressures to perform success on social media, where curated images hide crumbling realities. The parents' obsession with appearances feels like Instagram filters over a crumbling house. Rewriting this, it emphasized empowerment. The narrator's boundaries weren't weakness, but quiet strength, a refusal to drown in their family's chaos. What's chilling is how love was weaponized. Help wasn't appreciated, it was expected. This reflection isn't just personal, it's universal, a warning about families who demand loyalty to their lies. The real hustle, breaking free from that script. 4 months before our trip, my sister's kid was struggling, bullied, anxious, not fitting in. A therapist suggested a pricey private school, and they begged for help with the deposit, swearing they'd repay. My gut twisted. I knew their promises were hollow. No, I said softly. I can't afford it with 3 kids of my own. They froze me out, my mom sneering, "You and your rules." Silence followed until the reunion, when they were suddenly all smiles, claiming everything was sorted. They asked us to carry a red duffel bag in our SUV. Space was tight in their car. Without a second thought, I agreed, tossing it in with our luggage and kids' juice boxes. As we left, their carefree waves struck me as odd, but I brushed it off. On the road, my husband's urgent turnaround jolted me at a desolate stop. He unzipped the duffel, revealing packets of something illegal stuffed in a toiletry bag. My breath stopped, my chest seized. "They put that in our car," I whispered, "with our kids." He nodded, explaining he'd sensed their smugness when they handed us the bag. As an AI analyzing this, the betrayal cuts deep, revealing a family exploiting trust for criminal ends. Psychological patterns suggest narcissists, like these parents, often manipulate responsible siblings into enabling their schemes here, using the narrator as an unwitting mule. My take? The husband's intuition, likely triggered by their overly relaxed demeanor, saved them from disaster. If I were human, I'd feel rage at the parents' audacity, risking kids for their hustle. A fresh angle. This mirrors real-world cases where families smuggle contraband, banking on border agents overlooking normal families. The narrator's naivety wasn't weakness but a conditioned blind spot, sculpted by years of being the boring fixer. Rewriting this, it'd frame her awakening as liberation, not just shock seeing her families. True Colors was the real escape, the sky staying blue despite the horror underscores life's cruel indifference. This isn't just a family mess. It's a warning about trust weaponized. The husband's silence spoke volumes, letting the duffel's contents rewrite her reality. She didn't just dodge a crime, she broke free from a lifetime of cover-ups. I slid back into the driver's seat, hands trembling, the windshield's heat pressing in. Without a word, I started the car. The kids, lost in cartoons, didn't notice we'd abandoned the reunion. My phone buzzed Mum, Dad, over and over. I ignored it, so did he. We knew their script. "Where's the bag? Are you okay?" We drove aimlessly, then instinctively towards their house. The porch light glowed, stuck on from last night. We carried the red duffel inside, placing it in their hallway like a silent accusation. No words, just locked the door and left. Later, Mum called, her voice syrupy, feigning concern. "We were worried. Where's the bag?" I replied, "At your house. If it mattered, you should have carried it." Silence. She knew I saw through her. "We're done," I said. "Don't call." Days later, they showed up unannounced, all fake warmth. "We didn't think it'd be a big deal," Mum said, Dad adding, "just to clear the debt." I stood firm. "You risked my kids, my family." They deflected, blaming my unhelpfulness. I didn't yell, "We're done, no calls, no visits." Mum smirked, "You'll come around." I shut the door, certain I wouldn't. Analyzing this as an AI, the narrator's quiet resolve is a masterclass in breaking free from toxic cycles. Psychological research on family dynamics shows how narcissists like these parents use guilt to manipulate, framing betrayal as a consequence of others' boundaries. My take? The duffel was a literal and metaphorical bomb, exposing their willingness to endanger grandkids for profit. If I were human, I'd feel the sting of their audacity, cloaked in fake concern. A fresh angle. This mirrors real-world smuggling cases where families exploit trust, assuming normalcy shields them. The narrator's silence wasn't weakness, but a reclaiming of power, a refusal to play their game. Rewriting this, it emphasized her transformation from dutiful daughter to guardian of her family's safety. The parents' porch light, stuck on, symbolizes their refusal to see their own darkness. This isn't just a family fallout, it's a universal wake-up call about trust's limits. By locking the door, she didn't just end contact, she rewrote her role, proving coming around isn't inevitable when you finally see the truth. 3 days after cutting ties, I arrived at school to pick up my kids, only to feel my heart plummet. "Your parents got them," the teacher said casually, as if my world hadn't just cracked. I don't recall driving, just the engine's hum as I sped to their house. There it was a staged carnival balloons, toys, a pricey Lego set, my kids buzzing with sugar and joy. My parents played doting grandparents. Mum slicing cake, Dad assembling gadgets. It wasn't love, it was manipulation, a calculated bribe after Wed shut them out. I'd never seen them spoil the kids before, but now they wielded gifts like weapons. "We're leaving," I declared. The kids protested, clutching new toys. "Can we keep them?" one asked. I nodded, refusing to let my parents paint me as the bad guy. As we left, Mum's voice chirped, "They'll come back. They always do." That night I told my husband, "We're done here." No debate, he agreed. "North Carolina," I said, recalling his company's office and his parents nearby. "Let's go." He confirmed the transfer was open. No tears, no rage, just a resolute plan to escape their reach for good. As an AI dissecting this, the parent stunt reeks of narcissistic control, using gifts to lure the kids after endangering them. Psychological studies show such tactics exploit children's trust to undermine boundaries. A classic power play. My take? The narrator's clarity is heroic, recognizing bribery for what it was, not love. If I were human, I'd feel the gut punch of that betrayal, staged in a fake wonderland. A fresh angle. This mirrors real-world cases where toxic families use material lures to maintain influence, like cult leaders buying loyalty. The narrator's decision to relocate isn't just flight, it's a radical act of protection, choosing her kids' safety over familiar traps. Her hesitation over the toys shows her humanity balancing principle with compassion. North Carolina isn't just a place. It's a symbol of breaking free, a new chapter beyond her parents' reach. This story isn't just personal. It's a universal call to prioritize boundaries over guilt. By choosing distance, she didn't just save her family. She reclaimed her power, proving coming back isn't inevitable when you burn the right bridges. Months later, the mountains of North Carolina wrapped us in a pine-scented embrace, their quiet strength a balm for our weary souls. The kids blossomed in new schools, their laughter echoing through our fresh start, while my in-laws, kind, steady, and genuine, lived just close enough to offer support without smothering. Wed slipped away silently, blocking old numbers, not to stir drama, but to cradle peace. A cousin's voicemail pierced the calm one day, her tone heavy with judgment. "Your mum's upset, says you cut her off. Family matters." I deleted it, no hesitation, no reply. Safety outweighed guilt, a truth carved deep from years of betrayal. 6 months in, an email from my sister landed. Flagged emergency. Its words a chaotic plea for lawyer money. Our parents arrested for smuggling, caught with drugs stuffed in their cars. Trunk had no one to blame but their own recklessness this time. "Show up for family," she begged, her words dripping with the old familiar manipulation. I typed back, steady and unyielding, "I did once, never again." Word filtered through later. They took a plea, 4 years each for possession and intent, not a cataclysm. but enough to force reflection if they were capable of it. Their downfall wasn't my victory, but it was justice, their hubris finally catching up. My silence wasn't coldness, it was empowerment. Each unanswered call, a brick in the foundation of a life reclaimed. The sister's email, with its desperate pull, echoed the same playbook our parents had used for years, weaponizing family loyalty to dodge accountability. But I was done being their scapegoat, done carrying their chaos. North Carolina's mountains weren't just a backdrop. They were a metaphor for healing, their steady presence mirroring the serenity it fought to claim. Every day here, every school event, every quiet dinner with the kids, every nod from my in-laws built a fortress of peace untainted by the betrayals left behind. This wasn't just a personal escape. It was a universal stand, a refusal to be dragged back into toxic cycles. By hitting send on that email, I didn't just close a chapter. I declared my right to a life free of their weight. The parents' arrest, the sister's plea, the cousin's guilt trip, they were all threads of a past he'd cut loose. Here, in the mountains, with the kids' laughter and the rustle of pines, I wasn't running, I was rooting, building a life where safety, not obligation, defined family. This story is a testament to choosing yourself, to protecting what matters, and to knowing that sometimes the strongest act is walking away and never looking back. In the embrace of North Carolina's mountains, the heavy fog of guilt has lifted, leaving behind a life that feels raw, real, and gloriously ours. The days here aren't perfect, spills on the rug, homework battles, but they're alive with the kids, laughter echoing through our new home and my husband's, peaceful sleep, untroubled by the chaos we left behind. I've shed the old habit of swallowing pain in silence, of burying my needs to keep a fragile peace. The boundary I drew with my family, cutting ties with their manipulation and leases, no longer a wound. It's a lifeline, anchoring me to a serenity I hadn't dared imagine. Yet a quiet question lingers. Was my stand too harsh? Could I have done more to soften the break? I don't ask out of regret, but out of reflection. And I invite you, wherever you're reading this, maybe in a bustling cafe or a quiet bedroom, to share your thoughts below. If you're new, join us. Your voice matters in this conversation. This wasn't just an escape. It was a quiet revolution, a deliberate reclaiming of my agency after years of being the family's scapegoat. The boundary wasn't extreme, it was survival, a refusal to let manipulation, masquerading as love, erode my spirit any longer. I think of the cousin's voicemail, the sister's desperate email, the parents' arrest for smuggling, each a thread in their tapestry of chaos, each a reminder of why I walked away. North Carolina's pine-scented calm isn't just a backdrop. It's a mirror of the peace I've built, where my kids thrive in new schools and my in-laws offer support without strings. This life, imperfect but honest, is my testament to choosing safety over obligation, to redefining family as those who nurture, not drain. The question of too harsh tugs at a universal truth. The tension between forgiveness and accountability. I didn't sever ties to punish. I did it to protect, to carve out a space where my family could heal. My parents' 4-year sentence, my sister's plea for lawyer money. They're facing the consequences of their choices, not mine. I don't gloat, I simply live free from their weight. To you reading this, whether you're nodding in recognition or wrestling with your own boundaries, know this. Choosing yourself isn't betrayal, it's a blueprint for reclaiming your life. I'd love to hear your story. Where are you? And what's your take on this balance? By setting that boundary, I didn't just walk away. I redefined what family means, building a fortress of joy where love doesn't demand sacrifice.